Yo, what is up guys, Grim here, and in today's video, we're going to try something a little bit different and have a little bit of fun with this video. We're going to go over what my ideal league would be, and I decided, what the hell, let's come up with a league design idea. You guys can kind of pick it apart and give me your criticism, but I think it'd be a lot of fun. Maybe even post your league ideas down below so we can kind of read them, and maybe on the off chance a GGG employee watches this video, they'll get a bit of inspiration for a future league, maybe, just maybe. Anyway, let's get into this video. Hopefully it's a bit of fun. Of course, I'm no game designer, so don't at me in the comments. So, what is my league idea, and what am I kind of going for here? So I think my ideal league would include the following: a reason to do maps, a reason to get excited about doing lots of damage, so you have to kill bosses, something to do with crafting and new items, and kind of a bit of a challenge as well. I really like challenges in leagues. I really didn't like too much that Harvest was not too challenging, but something like Delirium was very challenging. So I think having kind of like a bit of a challenge is very, very fun. So let's get into my league idea. So my idea is the Descent League. Now, what is the Descent League? What is this crazy idea I've come up with? So, let's get through the basic gameplay loop. So let's say you open up a map and you zone in. In the Descent League, my idea is that you would be greeted with a Descent bar. Now, this bar is a bar that you can fill up by slaying monsters in a map, and slaying certain types of monsters like league-specific ones or bosses would fill the bar up more. Now, you could fill this bar up multiple times. You could fill it up from, for example, blue to green to teal, and each tier you go up would give you more juice when engaging with the lead mechanic when you're ready. So, the lead mechanic, Descent, what is it and how do you spawn it? So I think you'd have a little button here next to the bar, which would essentially spawn a Descent portal. Now, this Descent portal, when you're ready, would take you into another mini map, and you would get to go to town slaying monsters. Now, that's not too exciting on its own, is it? But let's say you go through this map, you slay the monsters, and you fight a mini boss. Pretty cool. Now, when you slay that boss, if you've filled up 2 bars, you will get to descend once again. But here's the catch. When descending, you'll get to choose a new set of modifiers which get stacked on top of your additional map modifiers, which make it much harder. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, I envision that you'd have 3 separate choices. You'd have, a medium difficulty one, an easy difficulty one, and a hard difficulty one as a set of modifiers. Now, based on which one you choose, they'll have different rewards. So think about it. You could have first one giving armor, pretty easy modifiers. Next one giving maybe Piranhas rewards, medium modifiers, and the last one perhaps giving breach rewards and being significantly harder in terms of the mods. So when you zone into the next level of Descent, you'll get a new mini map with a new mini boss. And when you're slaying monsters in there, you can expect to get breach rewards, not only off the monsters you're slaying, but also off the end boss, which would be pretty cool. Now, when you slay that boss, which is significantly harder, if you've got the appropriate bars filled, so you've got 1, 2, and now 3 bars, you could descend once again down to the levels. And you'd be able to choose a new set of rewards and modifiers. Essentially, this system would create a next to infinite, potentially, depending on how many monsters you slayed in your original map, descent system where you could choose how hard you wanted to make it and what rewards you wanted to engage with, which is pretty cool in my opinion. You can kind of keep going down, it's really fun, and you could also make it scale with groups and all sorts of fun stuff. This essentially introduces a new kind of difficulty in terms of endgame, and it definitely encourages players to push their character as hard as possible, but also push their maps as far as possible, which I think is always really fun. Now, what's really cool about this system? Well, there is no time limit. You don't have to worry about timers, and you can kind of take it at your own pace. So you're not going to get a situation where Legion is kind of like, if you had a headhunter, you can move faster, you get more rewards. There's no time pressure like Incursion. And one thing I really like about this system is it encourages you to actually do maps. In stuff like Delve League, Incursion League, Bestiary in some ways, and stuff like Synthesis, you were not really encouraged to do maps. You were encouraged to go into the map, do the lead mechanic, and then dash out if you wanted to engage with the system. And this was especially prevalent in stuff like Harvest, where you just went for the seed cache, get out, seed cache, get out. And that is not, in my opinion, good gameplay. So I think you really do want to structure your league mechanic around slaying monsters in the map, encouraging players to take on harder content in maps, stuff like breaches, legions and bosses, to give them more scope for rewards. And in this system, the more monsters you slay, the harder monsters you slay, the more descent levels you'll get, meaning you can go deeper in that, get more loot multipliers, make it harder and harder, and you have that kind of that kind of risk reward, kind of taking it further kind of feeling, which I really enjoy in ARPGs, and a reason to push your character to the next level. Now, of course, it wouldn't be an ARPG without some new loot, right? You've got the rewards, you've got the action, you've got bosses, all that kind of stuff like that. But we need something in there to push our characters to the next level. And what better thing to reintroduce than deterministic crafting, in my opinion, as well as a few other spicy things as well. So one thing I really liked about the Harvest League was that you could have the option to use a deterministic craft. I wasn't a big fan of how it was implemented personally, but I really did like where they were going with that crafting system. So I think I would bring that back. Upon completing your descent, you would be rewarded with a descent core. Now this descent core would give you a random augment, remove add, reroll or resist, all that kind of stuff like that from the Harvest League. I think it'd be pretty cool. And this would kind of be accessible to most players. You could reserve the higher scary kind of augment cold and stuff like that for perhaps higher descent levels. Maybe you need to do a 10 level descent to get an augment, and you could kind of gate it that way so players didn't get it too easily. You could give deterministic chaos augments though, chaos orbs, spam one descent core and it guarantees you a crit mod, as well as 5 random affixes, stuff like that, similar to the Harvest League. I think was very, very cool and something that you could potentially have as your reward here. In addition to that, I think it is really cool in the Heist League that you can enchant items like uniques to give really cool multipliers. For example, one thing I'm very excited to do in the Heist League is enchant my foils here with the 8% more physical damage modifiers on these swords. That's really cool. And I think that this system could be expanded upon, made more deterministic, and kind of be a lot cooler. I don't think it's too cool that it's so specific, and I think you could have it more targeted. So if you had, for example, a cold descent core, you could slam cold modifiers on a unique, or slam physical modifiers on a Star Forge or something like that. And you could have ranges on them, you could have different ones, like different fizz modifiers, and I think that'd be super duper cool to be able to augment your gear on an additional level, which is very, very awesome indeed, in my opinion. So that would be my whole idea. Now, the reason I've gone with such a simple league is pretty much, I think that's what PoE is best for. In my opinion, it's a league with depth, it's a league with challenge, it's a league with crafting and a little bit of fun. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed my take of what my ideal league would be. I think that this kind of a league would be a lot of fun for definitely a couple months. You could kind of see how far you could push your character, make it so that there's not too many limits on the system, and you could post those crazy YouTube highlights with a 30 depth where people are literally getting one shot by a white wolf like Empyrean did in Delve League. Stuff like that is really, really fun, and it's really, really cool. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Post your comments on what you think about this kind of video in the description. It's been a pretty short video, but I think it's been pretty fun. Maybe you guys have some league mechanic ideas as well that you can share below. Yeah, all the best. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers!